What is up, guys? Today, in this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank every single Pixar movie. But we're not just ranking every Pixar movie based on their quality or something like that. Today, I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna be ranking every Pixar movie based on their voice cast. Now, when it comes to this list, I'm not just looking at what the celebrity is in the movies. That's going to play a little bit of a factor, but what I want to rank is how good the voices are. How iconic are these voices to everyone in the whole entire world? Because Pixar movies are movies that everybody knows. Everyone around the world has at least seen one Pixar movie. And most people have probably seen, I'd say like half of them, especially if you're from like a younger generation. If you're like under 40 or 30, you've probably seen most of them. So, with that said, let's get started. First movie we have is Toy Story, the movie that started it all. Toy Story was the very first entirely CGI animated movie and is one of the most groundbreaking movies, not only in the 90s, but of all time. So let's look at this cast. We have probably one of, if not the most iconic duo, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen as Woody and Buzz. You can't get more iconic than that. Even when it comes to the other toys, we have Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head, Jim Varney as Slinky Dog, Wallace Shawn as Rex, John Ratzenberger as him. A lot of Pixar employees use their voices in the movies, so you'll be expecting a lot of the same names. But overall, pretty solid lineup. For the two roles of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, you should arguably put in S tier, but compared to other voice casts, it just isn't the best out of all of them. I'll put this in A tier. Very high A tier, close to S. But yeah. Next up, we have A Bug's Life. Now, looking at the cast and remembering who is in it, it's not the most impressive. We have Kevin Spacey as Hopper. Kevin Spacey, you can say what he is as a person. He does a really good job as Hopper. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus of Seinfeld and Veep fame as Ada. Also a really good voice role. But honestly, looking through the cast and remembering the movie, I mean, Bug's Life isn't one of the best movies. Especially not one of the best Pixar movies. And the cast isn't the best as well. I probably put this in D tier. Even though you have a couple phenomenal performances, the rest of them really just don't stand out. Next up, we have Toy Story 2. Absolutely phenomenal movie. Who doesn't love Toy Story 2? Who doesn't love the Toy Story trilogy? And when it comes to sequels, the way I'll be judging it is how does this sequel build upon the original when it comes to the cast. And already we have Joan Cusack as Jessie. Amazing addition. We have Kelsey Grammer as a prospector. Wayne Knight, another Seinfeld actor, as Al himself. And we have all of these phenomenal performances in addition to the performances from the last movie as well. So, even though Toy Story 2 is probably the weakest in the trilogy, this is an easy S tier. One of the absolute best voice casts in Pixar history. Next up, another iconic movie, Monsters Inc. John Goodman and Billy Crystal as Sully and Mike are arguably on the same level or even above Woody and Buzz. Like Sully and Mike are, again, such an iconic Pixar duo. And they do they're perfect for the role. We also have Mary Gives Us Boo, Steve Buscemi, our goat Steve Buscemi as Randall, and James Coburn as Waternoose. Now, see, Pixar has a thing. A lot of older actors who were acting in the 40s, 50s, and 60s have voice roles in Pixar movies. I really appreciate that. They're not looking for big names. They're just doing amazing elderly actors who are just like doing their thing. Absolutely amazing voice cast. You know, John Ratzenberger returns as the Yeti. And yeah, one of the best voice casts. Pixar just in general started the trend of having celebrity voices in like movies. And you have to give them props for that. Now, after Monsters Inc., we have Finding Nemo. I absolutely love Finding Nemo. Second favorite Pixar movie. It does a phenomenal job at everything. It's also so dark at the beginning. His entire family gets out. It gets killed. Marlin's entire family gets killed. And I like seeing that type of stuff in Pixar movies when they're not afraid to tackle dark subjects. But look at this. The big three. Albert Brooks as Marlin, Ellen as Dory, and Alexander Gold as Nemo. Phenomenal cast. You can say what you want about Ellen. I don't really like her that much. But you have to admit, they fit in perfectly with the roles. We also have our GOAT, our Lord and Savior Willem Dafoe as Gil. That alone should put in S tier. And also Jeffrey Rush as Nigel. And you have all of the other fish, all of the other aquatic animals in the movie. It's just phenomenal. And also, it hasn't been a part of that many movies so far, but kid actors in Pixar movies are so phenomenal. Sometimes even being better than the adult actors itself. I have to say, another easy S tier. Next up, my absolute favorite Pixar movie, and one of the best superhero movies of all time. We have The Incredibles. When it comes to the main four Incredibles, Craig T. Nelson as Bob Parr, Holly Hunter as Helen, Sarah Vowell as Violet, and Spencer Fox as Dash. All really good, but the main performance, Samuel L. Jackson as Frozen, has to be the single most iconic Pixar role. Come on. Honey, Where's My Super Suit? Everyone knows that. Absolutely iconic role. And Jason Lee as Syndrome. I love Jason Lee. Every time he shows up in a Kevin Smith movie or Alvin and the Chipmunks, you know that scene's about to be fire. And of course, Brad Bird, director of this movie, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and The Iron Giant. Again, he's given probably the best performance out of any Pixar worker as Edna. Overall, it's very close to an S tier, but some of the side performances could have been a little better. I'll put it above Toy Story. It's just on the very, very edge of S tier, but I just can't put it there. After The Incredibles, we have our first little bit of Pixar disappointment. We have Cars. I don't really like Cars as much as a movie. I don't think it really works well as a movie. The story and characters are the weakest in Pixar up to that point. And like, the concept of the movie is more interesting than the movie itself. And I will die on the hill that Happy Feet should have won Best Animated Feature over Cars, which it did. And people were very pissed at it. Happy Feet over Cars any single day. I love my dancing penguins. But when you look at the cast, Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen, Larry the Cable Guy as Mater, and the iconic Paul Newman as Doc Hudson. You can say what you want about the Cars movies. This is pretty phenomenal. Also, the side characters, Bonnie Hunt, Cheech Marin, Tony Shalhoub. Amazing job. But yeah, it's a very good cast. Probably, if not the strongest aspect of the film, other than the concept itself. I'll put in B tier, which is the highest I'll probably ever get of Cars for any one of these tier lists. Next up, the year I was born. Yes, I am that young. Ratatouille. Highest rated Pixar movie on Letterboxd. About a mouse just wants to cook. One of the best food movies as well. I'm planning to do a video on food movies. If you like that concept, Show me some support in the comments below. But anyways, love Ratatouille. I don't even like France, and I like Ratatouille. What else can I say? So we have Patton Oswalt, the iconic Patton Oswalt as Remy. Does an amazing job. We also have Ian Holm as Skinner, Peter Sohn, Pixar employee Peter Sohn in his first role as Emil, and of course, probably my favorite legacy actor in a Pixar movie, Peter O'Toole as Anton Ego. Nothing I feel like can get better than that. Like such an iconic role. Ratatouille doesn't have the most speaking roles or the most recognizable roles, but it does a really good job of what it has to do. So, yeah, I'll probably put this in B tier. Love Ratatouille just like everybody else. Next up, a year later, we got Wall-E. This dystopian movie and one of the few robots I would never call a clanker. Everybody loves Wall-E. And one of the things Wall-E doesn't focus on is his voice cast. It focuses more on the atmosphere of the movie instead of focusing on big flashy casts or a story. Very enjoyable as well. We have Ben Burtt as Wall-E and Alyssa Knight as Eve, which, yeah, they do a very good job for a robot. Jeff Garlin as the captain, absolutely amazing. And look at this voice cast. Yeah, we also have Fred Willard and Sigourney Weaver. What's not to love about Wall-E? Wall-E does a very good job at everything it tries to accomplish. And even though the size of the cast may not be the biggest, Wall-E still does an amazing job at everything it tries to succeed at. And again, a year later, the second animated movie nominated for Best Picture, we have Up. Which, again, doesn't have the most actors. That doesn't matter. We have, as the two elderly gentlemen, Ed Asner as Carl, and the iconic Oscar winner Christopher Plummer as Charles F. Muntz. Even so late into their careers, these guys are just acting their asses off the entire way. Also, Jordan Nagai as Russell. We all love Russell, so of course we love this performance as well. And also, looking at the voice cast, yeah, we have Bob Peterson, Pixar cast member, Delroy Lindo, infamously snubbed for The Five Bloods. I'll always be mad at that. A pretty good performance, pretty good cast, you know? Especially for those two lead performances. Yeah, I'd probably put it near the top of B tier. I'm liking this list so far. But now, next up, another masterpiece. Toy Story 3 somehow takes the cast of Toy Story 2 and elevates it on such a higher level that you have to applaud it. You have Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, Don Rickles, all of the cast returning, which is nice to see. Also, we have our additions. Ned Beatty as Lotso. He was amazing in Network and deserved his nomination, even though he was just in it for a few minutes. Ned Beatty does an awesome job as Lotso. Michael Keaton also plays Ken. We all love Ken. Ryan Gosling may be a better Ken, but again, an absolute phenomenal performance. And something where everybody just gets to shine throughout the movie. There are so many characters, including like the new toys, but somehow everybody gets their spotlight. I think Toy Story 3 has the best voice cast of any Pixar film. And I don't think it's ever going to be topped. But now, you have Cars 2, a movie I absolutely fucking hate. Cars 2 is a bad movie. It doesn't even feel like a Cars movie. It's more like a Mater movie where he just becomes a spy. And it contributes nothing to the universe and it just feels like filler. We have Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy returning. Yeah, most of the cast returns. I do really like Michael Caine as Finn McMissile, which that's a really stupid name. Never disrespect our good Michael Caine. But overall, looking at this cast and compared to the previous movie, doesn't do much. John Turturro's in this. Love him anytime he's in the Coen Brothers movie. But yeah, overall, it's Cars 2. Cars 2 doesn't do like anything it's like good at. So it's not the worst. Michael Caine is the single reason this is an F tier. I'm gonna have to put this in E. Yeah, it just doesn't do much for me. Next up, another pretty disappointing Pixar movie. We have Brave. Now, looking at the cast of Brave, other than Emma Thompson and Craig Ferguson, I don't really know any of these people that much. It doesn't really matter because everybody in Brave does a pretty decent job at what they're supposed to. Really love the Scottish setting, but it feels weird that Pixar is just doing like a princess movie. Like leave the princess movies to Disney, okay? Pixar, you guys aren't for that. And yeah, the voice acting's pretty decent, pretty solid for what they have to do. Nothing special. I don't really have much to say about Brave. It's not the most interesting movie to talk about. But yeah, it's okay. Next up, Monsters Inc. The prequel one person probably asked for, because I'd rather much see a sequel. We have Billy Crystal, John Goodman, and Steve Buscemi returning. We also have the additions of Helen Mirren as the Dean. Really like that. Also, Charlie Day in it. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Nice to see it. Alfred Molina. Spider-Man 2 is one of the best superhero movies of all time. Also love seeing that. And Nathan Fillion, who was recently in Superman, played Guy Gardner. Absolutely love him. Also saw his TV show Castle. Binged the whole thing. Really nice movie. But yeah. Is it as good as Monsters Inc.? No. Monsters University is like a whatever sequel. Does a good job. Does a decent job of what it has to. It's just a whatever movie to talk about. The voice cast does have some good additions, but is it on like the levels of these other movies? Nah. I'd probably put it in the same tier as Brave. C tier. It's okay. Next up, Inside Out. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, not the biggest fan of Inside Out. Even as a kid, I really didn't get much from it. It was kind of boring. But the cast of this movie, absolutely stellar. The five emotions: Amy Poehler as joy, Phyllis Smith as sadness, Bill Hader as fear, Lewis Black as anger, and Mindy Kaling as disgust. Absolutely phenomenal performances. Even when it comes to other things. Richard Kind as Bing Bong. Phenomenal. Especially Kyle MacLachlan. As a David Lynch fan, I love Kyle MacLachlan. And you definitely do too. As the dad. Absolutely phenomenal. Looking at this cast, it's phenomenal. Like, probably the best thing about this movie, in my opinion. Even have Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who doesn't love Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Maybe a little bit controversial, but Inside Out, I think, is an S tier. An absolutely phenomenal movie. Next up, we have maybe the worst Pixar movie, The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur, definitely the most boring movie. Like, how do you make a movie about dinosaurs this boring? Baffles me how they could have done such a thing. Yeah, but looking at this cast, it's phenomenal. Frances McDormand and Jeffrey Wright as the parents. Steve Zahn as Thunderclap. We also have Sam Elliott in the cast. But the voice cast is kind of boring. Like, they don't do much in the movie. There's nothing that good about The Good Dinosaur other than how it looks. These actors have nothing to work with because the screenplay is just so dumb. Yeah, F tier. Good Dinosaur probably, despite its celebrity status, just doesn't have the bam as other movies. Next up, another sequel. This time, a sequel not many were asking for. We have Finding Dory. Finding Dory, pretty good sequel. You know, most of the cast returns. In addition to Albert Brooks and Ellen, we have Ed O'Neill as Hank. I love Modern Family, so I love seeing Ed O'Neill. Also, we have Ty Burrell from Modern Family. In addition to Diane Keaton, Eugene Levy, Caitlin Olsen, Idris Elba, Kate McKinnon, and Bill Hader. This is amazing. This is an amazing addition. It does add much more to the original, but it's just not as good as the original. I'm debating whether I should put this into B or to A tier. Finding Dory is a pretty good sequel, but yeah, I'm probably gonna put this in B tier. It's very good, but just not as special as the first one, in my personal opinion. Next up, Cars 3, the best Cars movie, in my opinion, easily. A movie that innovates the cars in some way that we didn't see before, which, in my opinion, kind of crazy. But, anyways, in addition to Owen Wilson, Larry the Cable Guy, and all the usual guys, we have Chris Cooper as Smokey. I wasn't the biggest fan of Chris Cooper until I saw Adaptation. Gives an absolutely phenomenal performance in that movie. If you guys have not seen Adaptation, watch it. We all love Spike Jonze. He's one of our GOAT directors, even though he doesn't direct as much. But yeah, looking at this, it's alright. Chris Cooper is amazing. Cristela Alonso as Cruz, she's fine. Nathan Fillion returns, which I like seeing that. But overall, not the strongest cast. The first Cars definitely has the best cast, but I'm not complaining about the additions. I'll probably put this of A Bug's Life. Pretty good, but nothing too special about it. Pretty good movie though. Next up, Coco. A movie every Spanish class, you will have to watch this. Because Spanish teachers just love putting this movie on. Because it's also a phenomenal movie. But looking at this cast, I'm sorry, I don't really recognize many of these people. A lot of them appear in movies by like Alejandro Gianaratu, Alfonso Cuarón. So I recognize some of the movies they were in, but they do a phenomenal job at what they have to do. I may not recognize these actors, but you can feel their emotion throughout the film. If you're probably more familiar with Mexican movies, you'll probably recognize more of these names. But even though I don't, phenomenal performances by everyone. The kids, the adults, everyone. Does an absolutely amazing job in Coco. Next up, Incredibles 2. Sequel to my favorite movie. I think this movie is incredible. A lot of people don't like it, say it's so much worse than the original. I disagree. I think Incredibles 2 is an amazing movie. We don't really have that many additions to the original. Bob Odenkirk's in it. Better Call Saul himself is in this. I loved him in Breaking Bad and any of his comedies that he's in, like Nobody. Oh, Jonathan Banks is also in this. Better Call Saul reunion over here. And also we have Isabella Rossellini and some other actors. I mean, Incredibles 2 doesn't live up the most with our cast. Nice to see Samuel L. Jackson back in here. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, the original cast was already great. Although it is a step down though. I'm gonna put this in B tier. Pretty good voice cast, just nothing too special about it. Next up, Toy Story 4. A mess of a movie. Probably my least favorite best animated feature movie. Toy Story 4 is just like, why did we get this? Sequel, no, we didn't need. The Toy Story trilogy was already perfect. People just did this for the money, you know? And the thing about this, we have Anna Potts returning as Bo Peep, But we also have Tony Hall as Forky, Key and Peele as Ducky and Bunny. By the way, I think it's hilarious that because Jordan Peele was offered the role of the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie, that I started directing movies. Just thought I'd like to point it out. I think that's just hilarious. Christina Hendricks as Gabby Gabby, Keanu Reeves as Duke. I mean, pretty good additions. But the thing is, the movie is so short, and most of the cast returns from the previous movie, that the characters don't get to shine out. Like, other than Buzz, Woody, and Bo Peep and the new cast, we've just forgotten about all of the previous characters. They hardly have a line or two, which I think that's a little disappointing. Just because you have the biggest cast doesn't mean it's the best. Yeah, overall, just an okay movie. Okay movie, okay cast. Nothing too special about it. Next up, Onward. Probably for me the most forgettable Pixar movie. I watched it during COVID when it came out. I was like, whatever, nothing too special about it. We have our favorite MCU stars, Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, as the two brothers. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus returns as the mom. I love seeing that. When I'm looking at the cast, I don't really recognize many of the other people, other than Octavia Spencer. But yeah, just like the movie itself, whatever. The cast doesn't do anything that unique throughout the movie. So yeah, probably gonna have to put this in E tier. Not the worst not the absolute worst, but still pretty bad. Next up, Soul. We have Jamie Foxx in the lead role. I love seeing Jamie Foxx acting. He should go back to some more dramatic acting because he was phenomenal in Array and Collateral. But that's besides the point. Look at this cast. The two main characters of Jamie Foxx as Joe and Tina Fey from 30 Rock as 22. Pretty good. Edward Norton. I may not be British. I mean, Graham Norton. I may not be British, but Graham Norton as Moonwind is amazing. Also love seeing Questlove here. Angela Bassett. A pretty good voice cast. Nothing too special. I wasn't the biggest fan of Soul. I think it's a pretty great movie. Just not one movie I like to rewatch more that often. I low-key hated the ending. I didn't think it was that good. But yeah, probably put this in C tier. Next up, Luca. This is one of the few Pixar movies, surprisingly, that has like a mostly child cast. And everyone does an amazing job. We have Jacob Tremblay as the main character of Luca. And also Jake Dylan Grazer as Alberto and Emma Berman as Julia. They do a pretty good job. Luca may not have the best voice cast. I do like seeing Jim Gaffigan as the old uncle. I would love to have tickets to see Jim Gaffigan. That'd be nice. I love my ginger comedians. Yeah, I like seeing kid casts get a chance to shine. Especially as they're playing Italian characters. They do a really good job. I don't think there's a single bad performance in this movie. Luca may not be the most talked about Pixar movie, but it does a really good job at what it tries to do. I really appreciate it. Next up, Turning Red. Something I did mention previously when it comes to these movies is that very recently, like Pixar takes minorities and gives them their own movie, and they turn out pretty good. Giving to Hispanic community Coco, Black community has Soul, and now the Asian community has Turning Red, each with actors from their respective culture. I really appreciate that, and I can't complain about it. What is the cast of Turning Red? I don't really recognize anyone here. I do recognize Sandra Oh and James Hong. I love both of them in their roles, and Sideways and Everything Ever All at Once. Probably their career best. But yeah, everyone does a really good job. We have Phineas here as one of the Four Town guys. A lot of people do not like Turning Red. I really enjoy it. I think it's very accurate, and I love the Canadian setting. Not that many movies that take place in Canada, despite how much stuff gets filmed there. But yeah, the child performances and the adults are all pretty phenomenal along the way. Pixar usually doesn't hit miss when it comes to their voice cast. I'd probably have to put this in the middle of B tier. Yeah, pretty good cast overall. Next up, Lightyear. Another absolutely dog shit Pixar movie. Like what? This is the movie Andy saw that caused him to get a Buzz Lightyear toy. If I would watch this movie, I would not want to get a Buzz Lightyear toy. I'd probably get a Socks toy overall. Peter Stone's pretty good at Socks. But anyways, comes to the lead role, Chris Evans replaces Tim Allen as Buzz. And he just does a Tim Allen impression. Nothing special. Chris Evans adds nothing to the role. Keke Palmer as Izzy. What? Alright. Next up, Taika Waititi as Mo. It's crazy to switch on Taika Waititi after he was in Free Guy and directed Thor: Love and Thunder. Went from one of the most beloved directors to now one of the most hated. Anytime he's mentioned, people just hate him. I don't think he's the worst director in the world. Not the best actor, though. Also, James Brolin, Josh Brolin's dad, as Zurg. The story just gets so convoluted that I just can't respect this movie overall. It just fails on everything it tries to do, and it deserves to have flop. I'd have to say this is probably the worst Pixar voice cast, even worse than The Good Dinosaur. Next up, one of the most recent Pixar movies, Elemental. Pretty stunning on a visuals lens. I think Elemental is a pretty good movie. Probably one of Pixar's best movies in the recent years. And looking at this voice cast, I don't really recognize that many people from it. Other than Catherine O'Hara from Home Alone as Brooke. She does a really good job. Probably my favorite performance in the movie overall. Yeah, I don't really recognize most of these actors. They're much younger and from stuff I haven't watched. But they do a good job. This is like the only romance Pixar movie, which I'm surprised. I thought there'd be more of. But it does a pretty okay job of what it tries to do. Every voice is pretty unique in this what they're trying to create. So yeah, okay movie. Pretty good movie, pretty okay cast. Next up, Inside Out 2. Another movie I didn't really like that much. No, and the thing is, this has the Toy Story 4 problem. Like the five main actors are phenomenal. But the new cast, they really just don't add much. Maya Hawke, I love Maya Hawke so much. Seeing her as anxiety, she does a really good job. But the other three new emotions, even though we have Paul Walter Hauser, they just don't get a chance to shine. There's just so many characters that they don't get a chance to shine. And again, Kyle MacLachlan's in this, but he barely has any speaking lines in this. And yeah, looking at this, it's a pretty good cast. But again, it's just such a short movie that it just doesn't get a chance to shine overall. I'd probably have to... It's still a pretty good cast, especially for its five main emotions. So I'll put this at the top of D tier. And finally, the latest Pixar movie as of this recording is Elio. And I have to say, pretty good movie. One of my favorite movies so far. Is it going to be my top 10 of this year? Absolutely not. But a pretty solid kids movie for what it's trying to do. Looking at this cast, nothing too special overall. Zoe Saldana plays Diana in this. Her first role after winning her Oscar for Emilio Perez, a movie everybody loves, as we all know. But yeah, looking at this cast, even the kids in this aren't the best. I don't want to be mean, but the kid actors really don't try their hardest or anything. It's gonna sound mean, because it's nice seeing them try to do something, but Yeah, Elio, probably one of the weakest parts is his voice cast. Like, I'm not recognizing any of these names, and they're just fine. They do a decent job of what they're trying to do. But probably one of the weakest things along with this story is probably the voice cast. I really enjoy Elio. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But the voice cast isn't the best. So, anyways, guys, here is my ranking of every Pixar voice cast, from the best to the worst. Pixar has one of the best voice casts of all time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm planning on doing a video about DreamWorks and the Marvel movies when it comes to the cast once I finish watching their discographies, which I'm going to take a while to do because this video was a little intimidating to do. But anyways, what's your thoughts and opinions? What do you think of this cast? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!